What if everything you've been taught about who you are, what you should want, and how you should live is a lie? What if the very concepts you hold dear, the truths you've built your identity around, are nothing but chains keeping you from discovering the life you were meant to lead? We live in a world overflowing with information, advice, and knowledge, yet we're told that the only way to find true purpose is by unlearning everything. But how can we let go of what we've spent so much of our lives learning? How do we free ourselves from the beliefs that have shaped our identities, our goals, and our very existence? Michel Foucault, the philosopher who saw power and truth as intertwined, offers us an unsettling answer. Freedom can only be found in the silence of solitude, by unlearning everything we thought we knew. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with ideas of who we should be, what we should value, and what success looks like. We are conditioned from a young age to conform, to follow the rules, and to adhere to societal expectations. But what if, in doing so, we have unknowingly imprisoned ourselves? What if the very process of learning, of absorbing information from others, has created a prison of our own making? A prison that keeps us from accessing the truth of who we really are and what we are truly capable of. Foucault's theory about power and knowledge reveals a chilling truth. The knowledge we possess is not neutral. It is shaped by the structures of power that seek to control us. The truth that we are taught, the knowledge that we rely on, is not necessarily a path to freedom. Rather, it is often a mechanism of control. The systems of thought that guide our actions, from education to social norms, have been designed to keep us confined within certain boundaries. But the question remains, how can we free ourselves from these structures, from the ideas and beliefs that limit us? The answer, Foucault suggests, is to unlearn everything, to strip away the layers of false knowledge that have been imposed on us and return to a state of pure, unmediated experience. This process of unlearning is not easy. It requires us to confront the discomfort of not knowing, the uncertainty of being untethered from the certainties we have relied on for so long. It forces us to question everything we've ever believed about ourselves and our place in the world. But here lies the paradox. Only when we let go of everything we've learned can we truly begin to find our purpose. In the silence of solitude, in the space where all external influences fall away, we can finally hear the quiet voice within, the voice that has always known who we are and what we are meant to do. It is only by unlearning that we can begin to access the truth that is buried beneath the layers of learned behaviors, expectations, and beliefs. But what does it mean to unlearn? To truly unlearn is to reject the knowledge that has been passed down to us, to refuse to accept it as the final truth. It means to look at the world with fresh eyes, to challenge the assumptions that we've internalized over the years. It means to embrace the unknown, to sit in the discomfort of not having all the answers, and to trust that in this space, we can create our own truth. This is where Foucault's concept of freedom comes into play. For him, freedom is not about the ability to do whatever we want. It is the ability to choose who we are, to define ourselves on our own terms, without the constraints of external power structures. But in order to do that, we must first break free from the chains of the knowledge we have been taught. We must be willing to unlearn everything, to reject the systems of thought that have shaped our identity and our purpose. Only then can we begin to create a life that is truly our own. In the silence of solitude, we are confronted with a powerful question. Who are we without all the knowledge, the expectations, the labels, and the definitions that society has imposed on us? The answer, Foucault would argue, is that we are beings with unlimited potential that is only realized when we let go of the limiting beliefs that have held us captive. To find our true purpose, we must reject the idea that our worth is defined by what we know, by what we've learned, or by what others expect of us. Our worth lies in our ability to create meaning for ourselves, to define our own path, and to break free from the structures of power that have kept us small. Foucault's philosophy challenges us to reimagine what it means to be free. It asks us to look at the world not as a place to be controlled, but as a space to be shaped by our own will. Freedom, in his view, is not about escaping the rules, but about transcending them. It is the ability to see beyond the constraints of society's definitions and to live a life that is authentically ours. But to do so, we must first unlearn everything that has been handed to us. Every belief, every expectation, and every definition that has shaped our existence. This journey of unlearning is not easy, but it is necessary. In order to find our true purpose, we must be willing to let go of everything we think we know. We must be willing to sit in the silence, to face the discomfort of not knowing who we are or where we are going, and trust that in this emptiness, we will find our way. Foucault's truth about freedom is that it lies not in the accumulation of knowledge, but in the release of it. It is in the unlearning, the shedding of the old, that we make room for something new, something authentic, something true. But this process of unlearning is not something that happens overnight. It requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to face the discomfort of being untethered. It requires us to step away from the familiar, from the comfort of knowing who we are, and to venture into the unknown. Yet it is only in this space of uncertainty that we can begin to discover the truth of who we really are. In the end, Foucault's message is clear. We cannot find our purpose by continuing to cling to the knowledge and beliefs that have been handed to us. We must unlearn everything, step into the silence of solitude, and allow ourselves to be redefined. Only then can we create a life that is truly our own, a life that is free from the constraints of society, and a life that reflects the truth of who we are at our core. If you are ready to embark on this journey of unlearning, to break free from the knowledge that has shaped your life, and to step into the silence of solitude where your true purpose awaits, I invite you to begin now. Let go of what you thought you knew. Embrace the discomfort of the unknown and trust that in this process, you will find the freedom to live a life that is truly your own. Your purpose is not waiting for you to find it in the world. It is waiting for you to unlearn everything and create it from within. The time to begin is now. To begin this journey, we must first confront a reality that many of us would prefer to ignore. The very knowledge we think empowers us, the beliefs we hold about who we are and how we should live, may be the very things that imprison us. From the moment we are born, we are taught what to value, what to desire, and what success looks like. Every part of our education, our upbringing, and the world around us molds us into someone who fits a predefined role. We are told what is right, what is wrong, and most importantly, who we are supposed to be. But have you ever stopped to wonder if this so-called knowledge, this societal conditioning, is actually keeping you from discovering your true self? What if everything you've learned, everything you think defines you, is simply a lie designed to keep you from your true purpose? Foucault, with his deep understanding of power and truth, forces us to look at this uncomfortable reality head-on. Foucault's insight into power and knowledge is a challenge to everything we think we know. According to him, knowledge is not neutral. It is deeply entangled with power, and those in power shape knowledge to maintain control over others. The world around us creates truths that we accept unquestioningly. Truths about our gender, our class, our role in society, and our purpose in life. But what if these truths are nothing more than mechanisms of control? What if what we've been taught about success, about who we should be, and about how we should live, is nothing more than an elaborate system designed to keep us from truly thinking for ourselves? Foucault's answer to this question is both simple and radical. Unlearn everything. To discover your true purpose, you must first strip away the layers of knowledge that have been imposed on you. But what does that even mean? How can we unlearn something so fundamental to our existence? If everything we've been taught is in some way a tool of power designed to mold us into something that serves society's interests, how do we begin to peel back the layers and find the truth beneath? To unlearn everything is not just to reject the information we've been given. It is to confront the systems of power that have shaped our thinking. It is to question everything we thought we knew about ourselves. We are taught to value money, success, fame, and productivity. But what if these values, deeply embedded in our culture, have nothing to do with our true purpose? What if these ideals are distractions, designed to keep us from ever confronting who we are at our core? To unlearn everything is to free ourselves from these societal constructs and to return to a state of unmediated experience. It is to see the world without the lenses of societal norms, without the expectations of others, and to allow ourselves the freedom to see what truly matters. But what do we find when we begin to unlearn? What happens when we step into the silence of solitude and allow all the external noise to fall away? At first, there may be discomfort, even fear. We are used to knowing who we are, to understanding our place in the world, and to relying on external validations to define our worth. But once we begin to unlearn everything, we come face to face with a profound truth. We are not our labels, we are not our achievements, and we are not the roles society has assigned to us. We are something deeper, something beyond these surface-level identities. Foucault's philosophy tells us that true freedom comes not from conforming to these identities, but from unlearning them. Freedom is found in the silence of solitude, in the space where all external influences fade away, and we are left with the raw, unfiltered truth of our existence. It is in this space that we can rediscover who we truly are, without the interference of societal conditioning. It is only by unlearning everything, by rejecting the false knowledge that has been passed down to us, that we can begin to hear our own voice, our true purpose, echoing in the stillness. But unlearning is not easy. It requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty, to sit with the discomfort of not knowing who we are or what we are meant to do. It requires us to question everything, to challenge the very foundation of our beliefs, and to be open to the possibility that everything we've been told is wrong. In this process, there will be moments of doubt, moments when we are tempted to return to the familiar, to cling to the old identities that made us feel secure. But Foucault's message is clear. True freedom lies in the willingness to let go of these attachments. It lies in the courage to face the unknown and to trust that in the silence, in the absence of external noise, we will find the truth. The silence of solitude is not a void to be feared. It is a space to be embraced. It is in this space that we reconnect with our deepest selves, with the parts of us that have been drowned out by the expectations of others. In this silence, we begin to hear our own voice, the voice that has always known who we are, the voice that has been drowned out by the demands of the world. This is the voice of purpose, of meaning, of authenticity. It is the voice that has been suppressed for so long, but now, in the silence of solitude, it rises to the surface, ready to guide us toward the truth of who we are. To truly find our purpose, we must step away from the noise of the world. We must unlearn everything we have been taught about success, identity, and achievement. We must shed the layers of false knowledge that have been imposed upon us and return to a state of unmediated experience. In this space, we can begin to see the world with fresh eyes, to create meaning for ourselves, and to rediscover the purpose that has always been within us. But this process requires courage. It requires the courage to let go of the familiar, to embrace the discomfort of uncertainty, and to trust that in this emptiness, we will find our way. As you embark on this journey of unlearning, ask yourself, what beliefs have I held on to that no longer serve me? What knowledge have I accepted as truth that might be limiting my potential? What would it look like to let go of these beliefs and step into the unknown? The process of unlearning is not easy, but it is the key to finding your true purpose. It is in the silence of solitude, in the unlearning of everything we thought we knew, that we can finally hear the truth of who we are and what we are meant to do. This is the challenge Foucault presents to us. To find freedom, we must unlearn everything. We must shed the false knowledge that has been imposed upon us and step into the silence of solitude, where the truth of our purpose awaits. The question is not whether we will find our purpose, but whether we are willing to let go of the illusions that have kept us from it. Will we have the courage to unlearn everything and discover who we truly are? If you are ready to begin this journey of unlearning, to step into the silence and face the discomfort of not knowing, I invite you to take the first step today. Let go of what no longer serves you. Trust in the process and allow yourself to rediscover the truth that has always been within you. Your purpose is waiting, not in the knowledge you've been given, but in the silence of solitude, where you can create meaning for yourself. The time to begin is now. As you begin to unlearn everything that has shaped your sense of self, The first feeling you may encounter is a sense of emptiness. It's not a void to be feared, but a space of infinite potential. We are often afraid of the silence that comes with letting go, afraid of the emptiness it may reveal. Yet it is in this very silence that freedom arises. The mind, for so long cluttered with external expectations and rules, finds clarity when it is allowed to rest in this stillness. We have been taught to avoid silence, to fill it with noise, to run from the discomfort it brings. But this discomfort, this void, is where true freedom begins. To unlearn everything is to confront the comfort of our old beliefs, the beliefs that told us we needed to be something, that we needed to achieve certain things in life, or that we must follow a predefined path to find meaning. These external forces impose a limit on our freedom, a limit on how we experience ourselves, the world, and our purpose. Foucault's insight demands that we go deeper. Freedom is not about doing what we want. It is about knowing what we want, without the noise of external forces shaping our desires. When we begin to let go of everything we have been taught, we open the door to the real work, creating ourselves, not based on who others say we should be, but on who we are at our most authentic core. In letting go, we also let go of the idea of certainty. Certainty can feel comforting. It can feel like the foundation beneath our feet. But certainty is an illusion that society constructs to prevent us from questioning the status quo. What if true freedom does not reside in certainty, but in the willingness to embrace uncertainty? It is in the unknown that we find the power to shape our own meaning, to discover our own truth. By surrendering our attachment to what we know, we open ourselves to new possibilities, to the unknown path that has always been available but hidden behind the walls of our learned beliefs. The process of unlearning is not a sudden or dramatic shift, but a gradual dismantling of the false structures we've built over the years. It's a process that requires time and patience. It is a willingness to question everything, to look at the world and say, I choose to see it differently. We must challenge the notions of success that have been implanted in our minds, the definitions of worth and achievement that have guided our lives. We have been conditioned to believe that purpose is something external, something to be found through success, status, and approval. But Foucault's message is clear. Purpose is not something to be discovered, it is something to be created. When we begin to unlearn, we begin to reframe the world around us. What if purpose doesn't lie in achieving external milestones, but in how we engage with each moment? What if we can find meaning not in what we do, but in how we experience the process of living itself? This shift is not easy. It's not something that happens overnight. But the moment we realize that we have been conditioned to live according to someone else's definition of purpose, we are free to create our own. The silence of solitude plays a key role in this process. It is in this solitude, away from the distractions of the world, that we begin to hear our own voice, the one that has always been there but drowned out by the constant hum of external expectations. When we strip away everything we think we know, when we sit in the stillness of our own being, we are left with the purest form of truth, the truth that is only ours to define. Solitude allows us to connect with our deepest self, to shed the false layers that have built up over time. In this silence, we hear the truth that was always there, buried beneath layers of conditioning and false knowledge. This journey is not about erasing everything we know, but about recognizing that what we know is shaped by power dynamics, by cultural forces, and by external systems that do not serve our personal truth. In unlearning, we are not emptying ourselves of knowledge. We are emptying ourselves of the truths that are not ours to own. The ultimate goal is to replace these imposed truths with authentic knowledge, knowledge that comes from within, free from external influence, shaped by our own experiences and intuition. This process takes time, but it is the only path to freedom. As you continue this journey of unlearning, remember that discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a sign of growth. It is through discomfort that we become aware of the things we have been holding on to, the outdated beliefs, the unchallenged truths, the attachments that prevent us from truly being free. In the quiet of solitude, In the space between letting go and discovering what is next, we confront the deepest parts of ourselves. This confrontation is not meant to be a painful one, but a necessary one. It is through facing these truths that we come to understand who we really are and what we are truly capable of. The silence is not empty. It is filled with the potential for transformation. As we unlearn everything, we create space for new ideas to emerge, for new truths to surface, for new paths to be revealed. The process of unlearning allows us to become more aligned with the truth of who we are and to step fully into our power. It is in this space of unknowing that we find the freedom to define our own purpose, to create meaning that is uniquely our own. To unlearn everything is to take back control of your life, to reclaim your true self from the constraints of society and power structures. Foucault shows us that freedom is not the absence of knowledge, but the freedom to choose what knowledge we allow into our lives. We are not defined by what we've been told, but by what we choose to believe and how we choose to live. This journey is about rediscovering our authentic selves, free from the expectations of others, and learning to live in a way that is aligned with our deepest truths. As you embrace this process, remember that the journey to finding your purpose does not lie in seeking external validation or conforming to societal norms. The real purpose is found in the act of unlearning, in stripping away the old, the imposed, the borrowed truths that we have been living by. Once we let go of these, we open ourselves to the vast potential of who we truly are. The time has come to sit in the silence, to unlearn everything that has been taught to you, and to create a life that is authentically yours. The process may not be easy, but it is the only way to find true freedom. Embrace it, for in this unlearning, you will discover your purpose, a purpose that is yours to define, free from the limitations that society has placed upon you. The truth you seek is not out there, waiting for you to find it. It lies within, waiting for you to unlearn everything and create it for yourself. As you continue on this path, the tension that arises from unlearning will no longer feel like a burden, but rather it will become a powerful catalyst for growth. The discomfort of stepping away from everything that once felt secure is an invitation to transform your perspective, your understanding, and ultimately, your life. It may seem counterintuitive at first, that by shedding everything you know, you could gain something more profound. But the truth is that only by allowing ourselves to be unburdened from false truths and limiting beliefs can we begin to experience the full expanse of our own potential. In this process of letting go, you might feel a sense of vulnerability. We have been conditioned to think that purpose, identity, and success are fixed ideas that come from the outside, from family, society, or the expectations placed upon us. The unlearning process strips these away and forces us into a place of vulnerability, where we are forced to ask questions like, who am I without these labels? What remains when the things I thought I knew dissolve? This vulnerability, though uncomfortable, is the very soil in which true personal growth and transformation take root. Only when we allow ourselves to be open to the unknown can we create space for new, deeper truths to emerge. In the silence of this solitude, you might feel the temptation to rush back to old habits, to reclaim the safety of what you once knew. The mind will cling to what is familiar, even if it doesn't serve you. The truth is, there is no way to rush unlearning. It is a process that must unfold naturally, in its own time, and on its own terms. To fight this process is to deny yourself the freedom that comes with it. The more you resist, the longer it will take. But when you surrender to the flow of this transformative journey, you will find that the unlearning process becomes easier, more intuitive, and ultimately, more liberating. This phase of your journey is about embracing uncertainty. It's about shedding the need for external validation and trusting that the real answers, the ones that matter, reside deep within you. The key is not to find external solutions, but to tune into your own internal wisdom. Nietzsche talks about the will to power, but Foucault's perspective offers a different view. It's not about imposing power or control over others, but about reclaiming your own personal power by unlearning what holds you back. Power, in this sense, is about the freedom to shape your life in truth, free from the constraints of preordained rules. Unlearning is a process of liberation. It's about shedding the constraints of societal conditioning, questioning everything you've been told, and learning to live authentically according to your own truth. When you reject the systems of control that define success, identity, and value, you begin to reclaim your agency. This reclamation of power isn't about rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's about choosing to live by your own principles, without the distortion of others' expectations. Foucault's insight into freedom is deeply connected to the concept of power. True freedom can only be attained by understanding how power operates within us and how we internalize it. Freedom doesn't lie in fighting against external structures alone. It lies in confronting and rejecting the internalized truths that confine us. When you unlearn everything, you not only step away from external definitions, but you also begin to break free from the invisible forces that have shaped your worldview. Think of unlearning as a way of deconstructing the walls around your mind. Every belief you discard, every expectation you release, is a brick taken away from the prison of the self that was constructed by the forces of power and control. As you tear down these walls, you become freer to explore, to think, and to create without limitations. The more you shed, the more space you create for your authentic self to emerge, for new possibilities to unfold. In this newly open space, the seeds of your true purpose will begin to grow, not as something predetermined, but as something you create actively and consciously. But how do you know when you've reached a place of true unlearning? The answer lies in the experience itself. When you can sit in the silence without the pressure of needing to be anything, do anything, or prove anything, you know you are in a space of genuine freedom. It's the moment when you feel connected to your core, when your actions align with your true values, and when your life begins to take shape, not from the dictates of external forces, but from an internal understanding of who you are and what you stand for. This is where real purpose emerges, not from external rewards, but from an authentic alignment with your inner truth. This is a shift in perspective from finding purpose in achievements or accolades to finding purpose in simply being. Purpose doesn't have to be a grand, overarching goal. It is present in each and every moment, in the decisions you make, and in the way you live authentically. Your purpose is not defined by success or failure, but by your commitment to living in accordance with your own truth. When you begin to unlearn everything, it's not about eliminating knowledge altogether, but about shedding the layers of false truths, societal conditioning, and imposed identities. It's about reclaiming your inner sovereignty, where knowledge becomes something that is used to enhance your own personal growth, not as a means of conforming to societal expectations. This is the essence of freedom, knowing that you are not defined by what you know, but by how you choose to live and experience life. And so, the process of unlearning continues. Each time you question an assumption, each time you strip away a limiting belief, you become freer. With each release, you move closer to your true purpose. The key lies in continually returning to the silence, the solitude, and the discomfort of the unknown. The answers won't come immediately. The process will be slow, and it will require patience. But in the end, the freedom that comes from unlearning is the key to discovering who you truly are and the life you are truly meant to live. In this process, remember that it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about giving yourself the freedom to unlearn, to question, and to explore. It's about embracing the discomfort, trusting in the silence, and allowing your true purpose to emerge. As you walk this path, be gentle with yourself. Unlearning is not an overnight process, and it requires patience and perseverance. But with each step you take, you get closer to reclaiming your authentic self and discovering the purpose that lies within. As you continue the journey of unlearning, you'll begin to realize that the process is not linear. It's a constant ebb and flow between release and discovery. There will be moments of clarity, where the weight of the world feels lighter, and then moments of doubt, where you may wonder if you've truly unlearned enough, or if you're still tethered to old beliefs. It's important to remember that unlearning isn't about erasing everything. It's about reclaiming your freedom from the constraints of outdated thinking. Each moment of doubt is simply an invitation to go deeper, to shed another layer of conditioning, to look beyond the surface and seek the truth beneath it all. In this space of unlearning, you'll start to feel the freedom that Foucault speaks about. The freedom to live according to your own rules, to define yourself without the interference of external forces. This freedom is not the absence of struggle or discomfort, but rather the embrace of it as part of the process. When you begin to see discomfort as a sign of growth, when you begin to accept the uncertainty that comes with unlearning, you step into the realm of true personal power. What you'll begin to understand is that the silence of solitude is not an absence but a presence that allows you to hear your own voice, your own inner wisdom. In the quiet moments, when you stop seeking answers outside of yourself, you may start to hear the subtle whispers of your authentic purpose. This is not a loud, commanding voice. It's the gentle, consistent knowing that emerges when you are no longer distracted by the noise of the world. The more you unlearn, the more you are able to hear this voice, and the more aligned your life becomes with your true essence. But even as you move deeper into this journey, remember that freedom is not static. It's a constant act of choosing to let go, choosing to question, and choosing to live in accordance with your own truth. With every choice you make, you are writing your own story, creating meaning from within. This is the core of Foucault's insight. Freedom is not given, it is created. It's about actively resisting the pressures that tell you who you should be, and instead embracing the power to shape your own life. As you release the knowledge and beliefs that have held you captive, you'll begin to see the world in a new light. You'll begin to see the ways in which society has conditioned us to follow paths that were never truly our own. You'll start to realize that what you once thought was purpose was merely an imitation of the paths others have walked. And in this realization, you'll find the freedom to create your own way. A way that is uniquely yours, built from the ground up by the very choices you make. The journey of unlearning will also bring you closer to a profound understanding that you are not alone in this process. As you free yourself from societal conditioning, you begin to connect with others who are also on the path to authenticity. The more you embrace your true self, the more you attract others who are doing the same. In this way, unlearning is not a solitary process, but one that connects us to a larger community of individuals who are seeking to live authentically, free from the shackles of imposed knowledge. This is the beauty of Foucault's truth about freedom. It is not just about individual liberation, but about collective empowerment. When we begin to unlearn and redefine ourselves, we create a ripple effect that empowers those around us to do the same. The act of unlearning, of rejecting the false knowledge that confines us, is an act of rebellion, a rebellion against a world that seeks to control us through information, through societal norms, and through power. But this rebellion is not about violence or conflict. It is about inner peace, inner knowing, and the courage to live according to your own truth. By unlearning everything, you begin to access a freedom that transcends the constraints of society. You stop measuring your worth against external standards and begin to measure it against your own internal compass. You start to live in alignment with what feels true, what feels right, not what the world tells you should be true. In this space of self-empowerment, you find the courage to live without approval, without validation, and without fear of judgment. You live for yourself, in service to your own purpose, and in alignment with your own truth. The process of unlearning is a never-ending journey. There is no final destination, no arrival moment. But this is precisely where the beauty lies, in the journey itself. It is in the act of unlearning, of shedding the old, of creating space for the new, that we truly discover the purpose we've been seeking. This purpose is not something we find in the future. It is something we create in the present moment, through the choices we make each day. As you continue to unlearn everything, ask yourself, what is the truth that lies beneath all of this? What is the purpose that is uniquely mine? Let go of the need for external validation and trust that the answers are within you, already waiting to be discovered. The truth is not something that is given to you from the outside. It is something you create from within, through the act of questioning, unlearning, and ultimately choosing your own path. Now more than ever, we are called to embrace this journey of self-discovery, to unlearn everything that no longer serves us, to free ourselves from the constraints of knowledge and expectations, to live authentically, without fear, and in alignment with the deepest truth of who we are. This is your invitation, to step into the silence, to unlearn the past, and to create a life that is truly your own. The journey is yours to define, and it begins the moment you choose to embrace it. As we reach the end of this journey, the question remains, what will you do with this freedom? The silence of solitude, the unlearning, and the letting go of everything you once thought was true are not easy. The discomfort that arises from this process is not something to shy away from, but something to embrace, for it is through discomfort that growth happens. In every moment of discomfort, in every second of silence, you are being called to step deeper into your own truth. To truly find your purpose is not a matter of searching for something outside yourself. It is about turning inward, peeling away the layers of conditioning, and reclaiming your own authenticity. Foucault's insight into the relationship between knowledge and power is a profound reminder that much of what we have been taught is not meant to empower us, but to control us. Unlearning is not about erasing knowledge, but about freeing ourselves from the false truths that have been imposed upon us. It is about reconnecting with the core of who we are, not what others expect us to be, but who we are in our most authentic form. This journey of unlearning, of questioning, and of rediscovering who we are at our deepest core is not an easy path to walk, but it is a necessary one if we wish to live a life of true purpose, free from the constraints of external expectations. The key to freedom, as Foucault teaches us, is to reject the knowledge that binds us and to embrace the silence where our true self can emerge. In that silence, we are no longer bound by what we've been told we should be. We can live freely, authentically, and with a deeper sense of purpose. The beauty of this process is that it never ends. There is no final moment of clarity, no arrival at a destination. The process of unlearning and discovering our true purpose is ongoing. With each step, we become freer, shedding more layers of false identity and revealing more of our true essence. The journey itself becomes the destination, the process of becoming who we are meant to be, in every moment, every choice, every action. So, I invite you to continue this journey. Don't stop here. Keep questioning, keep unlearning, keep embracing the discomfort of letting go of what no longer serves you. The purpose you've been searching for is not out there waiting to be found. It is within you, waiting to be uncovered. By embracing solitude, unlearning the truths that have been imposed on you, and stepping into the unknown, you will discover a life that is uniquely yours. The power is in your hands. You can choose to live a life defined by others, or you can choose to live a life defined by your own truth. The silence is calling, the unlearning is necessary, and the purpose is yours to create. You already have everything within you to live the life you were meant to live. Now, it is time to let go, to step into the silence, and to create the freedom you have always longed for. The journey begins now, begins